statement. Representative Jackson.
Hi, I'm Congressman Jesse Jackson. I've had the pleasure and the honor of representing the good people of the 2nd District since 1995. I hope I've earned your support, and once again, I'm respectfully asking for your vote. I support government programs that help people. That's what Americans do. We help each other, especially those in temporary need. I support programs that help our neighbors who've lost a job, that help the family down the street facing foreclosure, that assist elderly parents who have costly medical bills, that help young people who want to go to college and need a loan, and I support programs that help businesses prosper so they can hire more workers who become consumers and thus help grow our economy. Some call these progressive ideas. Some call them family values. Whatever you call them, I support them, and I've fought hard to protect, promote, and expand them while serving in the Congress of the United States. And while I will continue to fight for progressive ideas, I also continue to fight for us. This year, because of the 2010 census, the 2nd District has been redrawn and expanded. It still includes much of Chicago's South Side and South suburbs, but now it takes in eastern Will County and all of Kankakee County. Since last summer, I've had the pleasure of meeting many people in Will and Kankakee counties. And what I quickly learned is that people in most of those rural areas share many of the same values and same concerns as their counterparts in the suburbs. No matter where you live, many of us are worried about keeping our jobs and our homes. We want to make sure that our families have adequate health coverage when we need it. We want our communities to be safe and crime-free. We want our children to get a high-quality and affordable education from preschool to graduate school. And after completing schooling, we want to make sure there's a job waiting for us. I'm fortunate enough to serve on the House Appropriations Committee, and that's the committee that's responsible for directing federal funding. In fact, I'm the only member of that committee from the state of Illinois. And because I sit on that committee, I've been able to bring back nearly $1 billion to this district, far more than any other member of the Illinois delegation. That money has been used to build new community centers, hospital emergency rooms, expand health care programs and improve public schools, to stop flooding in Ford Heights, to enhance public safety, to build affordable housing for seniors and low-income families, and much, much more. In fact, my office has a complete list of every dollar that we've secured, and I have a copy of it here, and my staff at the conclusion of my remarks will make it available to you. Most importantly, all of these projects and programs have created or retained jobs in the district. All told, this federal money has created thousands of jobs for teachers, law enforcement, construction workers, healthcare providers, researchers, transportation workers in every community in the 2nd Congressional District. As an example, there's one small appropriation that I'm particularly extremely proud of. It was used to start a nurses training program in Chicago Heights. In 2003, the presidents of several Southland hospitals came to my office to express a common concern. They couldn't find nurses to staff their hospitals. So I provided the seed money, $100,000 the first year, to create what we called the Southland Healthcare Forum. Today, the forum is self-financed, operates on a $3.5 million annual budget, and to date has trained and placed into jobs 1,200 nurses and healthcare professionals providing quality care to local residents. None of this would have happened without the initial federal seed money provided by our office. One final point. I believe we're closer than ever to building the greatest economic engine the Southland will ever see. That airport, to be paid for with private dollars, will create 1,000 construction jobs, 15,000 jobs on opening day, and eventually more than 350,000 jobs for our region. I have a big vision for this district. That airport will be the gift that keeps on giving for generations and generations and generations. In closing, let me say that we're all taxpayers. We're all Americans, and I'm proud to say that if elected, I will continue to fight for the progressive values that working families treasure and share, from Grant Park in Chicago to Peatone to Grant Park in Kankakee County. Thanks for your time, and I respectfully ask for your vote on March the 20th.
Right. Now, someone did pass a question to us, and this is the question. Congressman Jackson, all of your messages are about supporting President Obama. Where were you last summer when he was fighting John Boehner on payroll taxes, Bush taxes, etc.? The writer says, I never once saw you speaking out on the president's behalf.
That's just not accurate. And I respect the caller, the writer of the question, but the fact of the matter is Democrats have been in the minority in the Congress of the United States. We are not a majority party. John Boehner and the Tea Party are running the House of Representatives. And the only real weapon that Democrats have to protect the president's platform because of our minority status in the Congress of the United States is the majority of votes that we have in the United States Senate. And so for anyone to suggest that I'm not a fighter with Barack Obama is far from accurate. President Barack Obama has endorsed my campaign. President Barack Obama was in my wedding, and I got it on video, for those who don't believe it. I was at Barack Obama's wedding where Jeremiah Wright performed the service at the Old Trinity Church. I served as national co-chairman of Barack Obama's campaign for the United States Senate. I served as national co-chairman of his campaign for President of the United States of America. And even when my own father challenged the Obama presidency in the middle of that campaign, many of you know the stand that I took with respect to his involvement and that. And so during the effort to help Barack Obama become president of the United States, the Congressional Black Caucus was evenly divided between Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama. Stephanie Tubbs Jones, the late Stephanie Tubbs Jones of Ohio, led Hillary Clinton's effort in the Congressional Black Caucus. And because most members of the Congressional Black Caucus did not know Barack Obama, I was the leader of the Barack Obama effort for the other half of the Congressional Black Caucus. And all I can say is, I'm just glad we win.
All right, thanks so much.
Yes,
Ladies and gentlemen, are there other questions for the Congressman? Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
You have said that you received $100 million in federal funds for the South suburbs, and you asked the mayors, some of the mayors of the South suburbs, to take those funds and put them towards the airport.
Yes,
so
ma'am.
my question is,
Yes.
why would you take funds that could have put sidewalks down and paved streets, and these are your words, I believe,
Yes.
from the Chicago Tribune, and put it in the airport, for the airport?
Let me thank you very much for your question. As you know, as the congressman of the 2nd Congressional District, I'd like you both on this side, please. I was approached nearly a dozen years ago by Governor George Ryan, as every member of the Illinois congressional delegation was approached, to make a judgment about how $100 million should be spent. Every state representative had opportunities to spend money under the Illinois First program. Every state senator had the opportunity to make appropriations under the Illinois First program, and every member of Congress was given an opportunity to make an appropriation under the Illinois Illinois First program. Governor Ryan came to our communities, 21 of our governments, actually 27 at the time, and asked us, how should we spend $100 million? And to the mayor, every single mayor said that they would like the money spent on beginning to purchase the land for the airport. So Congressman Jerry Costello took $100 million, and he built the parking lots for the casinos in Joliet. That's how he spent money in the 11th Congressional District. The mayors of the 2nd Congressional District chose to take their $100 million, which I asked them, to begin purchasing the footprint for the Abraham Lincoln National Airport. And let me show you what that has yielded. For the last 17 years, from the Museum of Science and Industry to University Park has been defined as the 2nd Congressional District. Until recently, the 2nd Congressional District now extends all the way to Hopkins Park. It includes Kankakee, Bradley, Bourbonnais, and Buckingham. In the middle of the new 2nd Congressional District, for the first time, is the airport. It will go between Moni, University Park, Crete, Beecher, and Peatone. In other words, these mayors, who have a $700 million contract to build this airport, took their money in the Illinois First program and began buying everything that is green. They also have a contract to put the airport on top of land that has been purchased by the state of Illinois in anticipation of building that airport. When this airport is under construction, and we believe Governor Quinn will sign off on it soon, it will represent 1,000 construction jobs on opening day, 15,000 permanent jobs by the time the airport opens. Over time, this one runway and 5 gates will become these 2 runways and 80 gates. This airport represents, in the same footprint, 150,000 jobs to the local economy. Over time, and unfortunately I will not live to see it, this airport will represent 320 gates, 4 runways, 350,000 jobs to the local economy. It means that all of this area that you see where there's white is essentially vacant land and unincorporated Illinois. By the time this airport is built, these communities, primarily South suburban communities, as a result of this airport, will become the new Bensonvilles, the new Elk Grove Village, the new South suburban communities that balance the economy between the North and the South. Now, in the center of the 2nd Congressional District is the new airport. So my mayors, recognizing that the district would grow, made an investment with $100 million into the center of the district with the full expectation that one day the airport would be built and their constituents would be able to go to work. What I'm being told by my political opponent, which is completely unacceptable, is that these 21 governments should not be able to run this airport. That this airport should be run by her former constituents over here in Joliet. And just as sure as I'm sitting here, that's not going to happen. I'm not going to let that happen. These communities here are unemployed, large numbers of unemployment, 3 people for every 1 job, and I compare that to the north side of Chicago, 3 jobs for every 1 person. We're not going from the 2nd Congressional District, where the airport is, asking people in Joliet to allow us to work in our own congressional district. If Chicago can run its own airports, if Aurora can run its own airport, if Springfield can run their own airport, if Bloomington Normal can run their own airport, if Joliet can run their own airport, if Springfield can run their own airport, if Champaign-Urbana can run its own airport, then 21 governments made up from the south suburbs ought to be able to run their own airport right in their own backyard, and that's the contract that I put them in. So let it be clear. Sorry? Yeah. I call that vision. I call it vision. My communities had the vision that one day the project would be in their district. And now it is in their district. And they plan to control it. And we are not transferring it from our district to somebody else's district over here so they can tell us how we should be running an economic development project in our own district. That's not going to happen. I guarantee you that is coming. Don't worry, I want my models to stay. Any other questions?
Well, I have another question.
Yes, ma'am.
I really appreciate your passion on that.
Yes, ma'am.
But like that question that was over here a few minutes ago, I'd like to see more of that passion in Washington against your opponents, those opponents. All right? That attitude, I'd like you to take on the road, take it on TV, talk about like that to these people.
Let me thank you very much for your call, for your question. I'd love to take, I was the national campaign co-chairman of Barack Obama for president. I traveled to 40 states for Barack Obama. I would love right now to be traveling to 40 states on behalf of Barack Obama. But I'm here in a race for my own seat in Congress, and right now I'm going to spend all of my time showing you my passion for what I believe in this district. And after March 20th, if I'm fortunate enough to be your congressman, I plan to get back on the Barack Obama campaign and do everything I can to ensure that John Boehner is no longer the Speaker, and Nancy Pelosi, who's coming here to endorse me on March the 3rd, is the Speaker of the House of Representatives, and we might be able to turn the tide on meanness in Washington. Ma'am, I fully appreciate your concern about my passion, but believe me when I tell you, charity starts at home, and I'm working on my own job right now. fastest 15 minutes I've ever had. I thought I had at least 15 more minutes. I don't have time for one or two more questions, or I'm prepared to oblige everybody. Yes, sir.
How would the anticipated expansion from 65 to I-80 factor into this?
Are you talking about the Ileana?
Ileana.
The Ileana is going to run, and I saw it in the paper today, the Ileana is going to run south of the new airport. So it's not a question of the chicken or the egg, which comes first. We can do both. First of all, we have secured through two different developers, each of whom are capable of building this airport, but they've entered into a consortium to build this airport at no cost to taxpayers. They will run it. We pulled together, again, 21 municipalities that have secured the developers with the Illinois Department of Transportation to put this airport on this land and create 15,000 jobs. But let me share something with you, because in case I don't get the chance to share it with you, I think it's equally as important. I'm not just building any runway, any airport. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm building a 12,000-foot runway, 12,000 feet. That's different than Midway, whose longest runway is 6,446 feet. And that's very different than Gary, whose longest runway is about 7,000 feet. 12,000 feet means nonstop from the south suburbs to Beijing. It means nonstop from the south suburbs to Europe. It means nonstop to any African destination. It means nonstop to any South American destination. It means any nonstop flight from here to Japan, and any smaller point in between. In other words, every school in the south suburbs is going to have to hire a Chinese teacher when I get finished with this. Someone's got to be teaching German out here. Someone's going to have to be teaching French. In other words, I have a big vision for this district, because I'm from the south side of Chicago and the south suburbs. And I've watched all of my life everything go north and nothing come south. With that airport comes UPS, Federal Express, Hyatt, Hilton, Fairmont, UPS, Avis, Hertz, Dollar, Convention Center. It shifts the property burdens off of us as individual homeowners onto the public, private sector and business, so they can pay their fair share of taxes, and our taxes can go down, and the quality of our children's education can go up. So I conclude by saying this. On March 20th, you're going to get a chance to choose between vision, my vision, and my opponent's vision. I can live with the outcome of your decision. A reporter called me just the other day in my concluding remarks and asked me, Congressman, they say this is the first serious challenge you've had to your seat. I said, it's not my seat. The seat belongs to the people of the 2nd District. And I'm prepared to accept on March 21st whatever their decision is about their seat. I'm just your representative, nothing more. On March 21st, I will know whether or not you want me to continue this vision, or whether or not you select another vision. It's been the highest honor of my life to represent you in the Congress of the United States. I'd like to continue this project and continue this process until such time as I am able to finish and deliver for you that which I promised you in 1995. I've been through 3 governors now, 4 governors. I had to convince George Ryan to start buying this land. I had to convince the last governor to keep buying the land. I had to convince Governor Quinn to keep buying the land. Governor Quinn just recently entered into a 3-part contract to secure the last few acres of land necessary to build this airport. 3 governors I've had to convince to buy this land. I then took 21 governments to go find the money to build the airport. I built this airport by myself, unfortunately, because somewhere I read that without vision, the people perish. And I'm going to hold on to that scripture. Thank you, and God bless you all.